Welcome to the Intel Network Builders Technology vSummit series. Time now for our session on securing containers in Kubernetes with CN series, the industry's first next generation firewall for Kubernetes, part of the Network Platform Security and Services vSummit. Now, the CN series firewalls from Palo Alto Networks deliver all of the capabilities of its PA series and VM series firewalls, but in a container form factor. And this gives customers the ability to deploy layer 7 network security and threat protection in their Kubernetes clusters for advanced protection and compliance. Well, to tell us more, I would like to welcome Sudeep Padiyar, who is Product Line Manager at Palo Alto Networks. Hello, Sudeep. Thanks very much for joining us in the session today. Let me start by asking you about how the number of container deployments has increased in the last couple of years. What kind of applications are containerized and what are the typical security implications?
Yeah, good morning, Guy. So that's a great question. So if you look at early on, primarily it was the developer workloads which were containerized, and that was the first journey. If you look at the evolution in the last 2 to 3 years, a lot of the traditional applications are also being containerized. Database software, front-end web workloads. A lot of the leading vendors are now containerizing their applications, and they're all available via the different marketplaces. So you see an evolution now where pretty much most of the applications are available in container form factor. So what it means is that you need first-class security, you need all the next-gen capabilities, you need advanced threat inspection, just like you would for physical workloads or for VM workloads. So, as you see from Gartner, the number of organizations who are now running multiple applications in production has been typically on the rise for the last few years.
Container security covers a vast area and customers are looking for guidance on what is the best way to achieve it as they move their critical apps to containers. What's your view on this?
Yeah, so Guy, if you look at containerized applications, there are different points at which security needs to be brought in, whether it is in the CI/CD pipelines or whether it is post-deployment. So with that in mind, there are multiple aspects such as visibility and governance, ensuring that the configurations for the Kubernetes clusters and nodes are done correctly. There are different aspects around compliance. And similarly on the compute side, right, as in once the applications are deployed, you want to make sure that there is the relevant runtime security. You are actually looking at all the different cloud workload protection mechanisms. So within our portfolio, there is Prisma Cloud Compute, which gives you comprehensive security there. As you move further post-deployment, there is network protection. In the context of virtual machines and physical servers, we've had firewalls, we've had a bunch of capable products which have ensured that you have complete security there. We need a similar mechanism for containers, which is why we introduced CN series, which gives you layer 7 threat protection, which gives you the same level of application visibility that you have for the other workload types.
And Sudeep, how important is network security for containers? What are the different ways to achieve it and what challenges are enterprise customers facing today?
Yeah, so Guy, in terms of security, network security is as important as it was for other application type, whether it is VM or physical workloads. In fact, with the amount of threats for some of the web applications, and those are the ones which are most containerized, network security is as relevant or more. Now, if you look at the challenges, and a lot of this is coming from feedback when we started talking to customers 2 or 3 years ago on what their challenges were with containers. Security was one of the biggest challenge because a lot of the security architects did not have the same level of visibility and control because their firewalls and other network security appliances could not actually see the traffic when it was going between containers or going between containers and VMs. The second challenge has been around tooling and management. Containers and Kubernetes come with their own set of tooling, whether it is Helm charts or Terraform and other cloud native tooling options. So the container firewalls and other technologies, how to make sure that they are suited for automation. The third is around scale, because Kubernetes and containerized applications can scale in and scale out very rapidly, and your security needs to be able to take that into account.
And what are the different use cases for securing containerized applications on the network? Which form factors are available and how do customers decide which one's the best choice?
Yeah, so Guy, the different use cases for containerized applications are, outbound, east-west. Those are the two common ones. When you have, containerized applications communicating, directly with other apps in the data center or in the public cloud. Also, the web applications are often containerized, like we see here. The ordering apps, in a web application are, accessed by users, or in the context of the public or private cloud, you have east-west communication between containers and other containerized applications, or with virtual machines in the same VPC or across VPCs. So all of those traffic patterns need to be secured. With regards to form factor, there are a couple of different options. You can use the physical firewalls in certain scenarios where the traffic is going across the data centers. The virtual firewalls can be used for the north-south flows in the public or private clouds. But the containerized form factor gives you the most flexibility because it can now be co-located with the application stack within Kubernetes, so it can see all the flows, whether it is east-west, north-south, between containers, or from containers to other services, or to virtual machines. So the containerized form factor gives you the most flexibility, as well as you can do the automation using the Kubernetes native constructs. So that brings us to CN series and the first industry's first containerized next-gen firewall. And we address all the use cases that I was mentioning earlier with regards to inbound, east-west, and outbound to stop data exfiltration, along with container context in the security policies, along with all the different capabilities for automation, which Kubernetes provides. So CN series, which we released last year in the summer, gives you all the capabilities that are needed to successfully secure your containerized applications.
Thank you, Sudeep. And could you talk to us about the different components of your CN series firewalls and how customers can deploy them to secure their applications? And also, just how seamless is it to insert CN series in different cloud environments where containers are deployed today?
Sure. Yeah, so Guy, if you look at how we started off with CN series, we took all the critical components of our firewalls and containerized it. So it needs a bottoms-up approach to ensure that all the key components are containerized. So the components are, the management component, which is involved in policies, which is involved in some of the logging aspects, that is available as a container. And then more importantly, the firewall or the data processing component is also available as a container. So those are now running within the Kubernetes clusters so that the orchestration and automation can be done with the Kubernetes native tooling. The other component is, we have Panorama, which is used for managing the lifecycle of all these containerized firewalls, as well as for the metadata, because customers want to apply policies based on Kubernetes labels, based on namespaces, or deployment sets. So those are actually available by us querying the Kubernetes API servers. So that is also now available as a separate plugin for Kubernetes within Panorama. So those are the three key components which are part of the CN series firewall. And in that regard, with regards to inserting the firewalls, they are available as a component which can run on Kubernetes. And then more importantly, the network insertion, the instantiation can all be done using Kubernetes native mechanisms, such as CNI chaining and Helm or Terraform. So we ensure that when your CN series is running within the Kubernetes clusters, it is running just like any other containerized applications. So no special tooling is required for it. Couple of key points I want to highlight with regards to the product and the support that is available. So PanoS 10.0 is the version of software wherein we introduce this capability. It runs with Docker or CRIO runtimes. and all the different versions of Kubernetes that we support are listed. We go up till 118 now, and it can also run in private or public clouds, whether it is AWS, GCP, or Azure, and similarly in OpenShift or VMware environments. We've also leveraged a lot of the performance capabilities which come from chipsets from Intel, and we will continue to do that as we look at increased performance going forward.
And as you mentioned earlier, automation is one key benefit of container technology. How can customers benefit from this whilst using CN series firewalls in different cloud environments?
That's a great question, and automation is definitely top of mind for a lot of our customers. So what we've done is we've made it very easy so that they can now use, Helm is one of the key and commonly used automation framework for Kubernetes. So we provide Helm charts for all the components of our software so that they can be instantiated via Helm. We also provide Terraform templates, which leverage all the capabilities of the Helm charts, and you can now run CN series and automate it in any of the cloud environments using Terraform being the resource provider for Kubernetes and the CN series application stack. So all of that can be done using consistent tooling that customers are used to in these environments.
And are you able to walk us through an example of this?
Sure. So Guy, there's a video that I will go over now, which actually explains how the CN series and the different components can be installed using all the automation capabilities in Helm and Terraform in a public cloud environment.
Hi everyone, my name is Raj Patil. I look after technical marketing for our software next generation firewall form factors. In this demo, I will be showing you how easy it is to deploy and configure CN series containerized firewalls as part of a CI/CD workflow using Helm charts. This is our demo environment. We have a Google Kubernetes engine or GK cluster with 2 nodes in it. Once the successful deployment happens, we will see that the CN series components like MP pod or CN Next-Gen Firewall DP pod, they will get automatically added within this cluster. This is what my Kubernetes cluster look like. The name of the cluster is K8 cluster. That's the IP address of my API server, and as you can see, it's a cluster of 2 nodes. So I'm inside my cluster, and then I'm running kubectl gate nodes. And after I'm done with gate nodes command, I will run a command inside a namespace called kube-system. This is where all the CN series components get installed to make sure that we do not have any of the CN series components yet. So as you can see here, these are all the standard Kubernetes components or pods, and we do not have any CN series yet. Now I'm at the VM instance from where I'll be running all the Helm commands. I have already authenticated this particular client to my cluster, and as you can see, I have also downloaded the required packages along with the values.yaml file. These are the 4 specific parameters that we only need to specify, and then all others are already pre-configured parameters for you, like what are the requirements for MP pod, DP pod, as well as CNI and others. And user do have a flexibility to modify that, but those are not really needed if you don't really need to do a custom configuration. Now I'm just doing a dry run using Helm install dry run command, and looks like dry run went successfully. So after that, I'll do the actual Helm install command with the auth key and the panorama IP address, and looks like that also went through. So now I'm coming back to the Kubernetes cluster that I have created, and if you look at right now, the gate pods output does shows that the CN series components are getting created, like CNI pod, MP and DP, like next-gen firewall pods. Those are being created and they are right now in a running state. To recap, We have now deployed and configured CN series firewall to secure our Kubernetes environment. All it took was a few lines of code and the integration of our Helm chart into provisioning process. Please visit palo.networks.com for more details or give it a try using our quick lab. Thank you.
Sudeep, thank you very much for taking part in the session today and explaining how we can secure containers in Kubernetes. A reminder that you can watch other sessions in the Network Platform Security and Services vSummit. We have a session on security for a multi-hybrid cloud environment, plus a further session on secure, scalable, multi-cloud SSL orchestration using F5 Big IP and Fortanix with Intel Software Guard extensions. We also have a session that looks at accelerating secure digital transformation with VMware SD-WAN and Zscaler. For now though, thank you very much for watching and goodbye.